Hey everyone, it's Ilana from Indiecation. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, so I figured I would share with you about my weekend at the Growlers Six festival. Some of you may know that this was previously known as Beach Goth. The Growlers would host this annual Beach Goth party over at the observatory in Orange County every year, and now they're kind of in this lawsuit with the OC Observatory over the name rights, so they changed this to the Growlers Six. It was kind of funny. In one of the display areas, they had this little kind of graveyard, and Beach Goth was like one of the graves there. So it's officially dead, I guess, but the spirit was, alive and well at this Growlers Six festival. It took place this year in San Pedro at the waterfront area over in like the port of LA, so it was kind of right along the water, and it was in this huge parking lot, so there was plenty of space for three of the stages. This year it was a really impressive lineup. It was actually one of the festivals I was looking forward to attending the most, and I've been to a few festivals this year like Desert Days and Music Tastes Good and stuff like that, and this was the lineup that I was the most anticipating, because you had people like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, the Growlers were headlining both days, Beach Fossils, and then just some bands that I was really into in high school, like the like Bad Brains and Fear and some of the more punk bands too. So I was really excited to see them, and some of the smaller names on the bill were bands that I was familiar with that do play live pretty often, like Frankie Cosmos and the Paranoids and Billy Changer and Laluz, the Regrets, and everything. So this year it was my third festival that I've been sent as a press member for Mixdown, which I also write for. I'm their managing editor right now, and I also write album, and I've been getting more into the festival reviews also. So it's a pretty cool experience. It's very different from just going and being a spectator, though. Like, I'm there with my notebook, taking notes, making sure that I know all the song names, and making sure that I'm staying till the very end of the set and just noting everything that the band is saying to the audience, and also anything that goes down during the sets too, which it's really helped me become a better listener, like lyrics-wise. For me, lyrics has always been kind of secondary to the music, but now that I, in certain bands like Cigarettes After Sex, for example, their music is so slow and romantic, and the lyrics are very much just a huge part of what the listener experiences and how they react to the music too. So it's really given me a greater appreciation for that. But anyway, it also made me note a couple of, I guess they're kind of lowlights, really. They weren't really highlights. A couple of just strange audience incidents. For example, I was watching Danny Brown, who's this hip-hop artist, and not someone that I really listen to, but I'm on assignment, and they have me... They kind of tell me who to see, so I get to see some bands that I normally would make me miss, and I'm on my feet all day just kind of watching bands nonstop. So I'm watching Danny Brown, and he's quite a performer, and he's really hyped up the crowd, and he's playing a lot of just high energy hip hop music. There's lots of dancing going on, and I'm in the front, and we've got security guards kind of on either end of the stage. This is one of the main stages. So there's a barricade, and then there's the little area where the photographers are. Some fan gets over the barricade, hoists himself onto the stage, decides I thought he was maybe just going to dance around on stage, but then he decides to jump off the stage and into the crowd, except he misses and he hits the barricade, and it was really pretty disturbing. Like, the crowd just like, oh my god, was like just really concerned for him, and he was clearly just out of his mind. And so that was just one example of security maybe not being as attentive as they should have. Fortunately, though, as he was being wheeled off by the paramedics that were there, he held up his little, yeah, like devil signs. So, we assumed he'd be okay, but his face was all like bloody and it was pretty gross. So, if you're out there, I hope you're okay. But so that was on Saturday, and then on Sunday during the regrets, this was like 2 p.m. So there's a good chance that the fan in question wasn't even like under the influence of anything. So this was really kind of interesting. The fan got into this was at the smallest stage called the junior stage. The fan got over the barricade and into the photography area and started pushing photographers, and I'm standing there also. I think I was actually taking a Snapchat, but I stopped. I should have continued because that would have been interesting to catch on camera, but she starts pushing around people. She gets on the stage and just knocks the lead singer, Lydia, down like completely, and to the point where she maybe even hit her head against like an amp or something. They were only 2 songs into their set, and she was just so in shock that they weren't able to continue the set, and the fan in question was taken off the stage, and I'm not sure what happened to her, but yeah. So there were a couple just like weird like low points like that, but other than that, I'd say the festival was really smooth. The set times were pretty much honored. There were just a couple times, like when Alice Glass and Julian Casablancas and the Voids, they were running about 30 minutes behind their sets on Sunday. But everything else was really smooth. Everyone appeared to be having a really great time. It was around Halloween, so a lot of people were dressed up in costumes. It was just really kind of a spectacle. And the grounds had a very OC Fair kind of vibe, like there were deep fried concessions where you could get fair style food and stuff. There was this motorcycle attraction that I didn't go into, but I saw photographs of. It was like this daredevil motorcycle guy who was kind of riding around in like circles in this kind of cylinder type thing where people were watching. And the one thing about that was it was a little funny when bands like Frankie Cosmos, who are kind of more on the quiet side, are right by this motorcycle attraction, and you hear the revving of the motorcycle during the set. That was just kind of funny. But and then there was also a yo-yo swing set, so people were able to like kind of get on the swings and watch the bands from there too. So it had kind of a carnival theme to it, and there were food trucks and everything. I had like one of the most amazing lunches there from this place called Chego, which is like rice bowls and stuff. It was like a pork belly thing with a bunch of little things like little radishes and all kinds of stuff, but it was really bomb. So that was kind of one of my few experiences of having like actually good festival food also. The only thing was drinks were super expensive. It was like $14 even just for a beer. So I didn't really drink there, but a lot of people did, and a lot of people were smoking, of course, but that just kind of comes along with the festival territory. So this is the overall vibe there. I saw, as I mentioned, I saw a lot of bands. Some that I maybe would have left the set a little bit early had I not been on assignment. And those bands included, like, the headliner for Sunday night was the Butthole Surfers. And I get that they're kind of, staples of the 90s, like, kind of legendary, but I just didn't really get them. I didn't get their set. It just sounded like a bunch of noise. And I was really bummed that I had to watch them instead of watching Beach Fossils, who are one of my favorite bands. So I was there thinking to myself, though, like, what is it about this that makes me not like it? And I think it's just more, it's too, like, sporadic, whereas, like, a band like Beach Fossils has a little bit more of that structure. It's more melodic, and I mean, I'm just a sucker for anything that's like reverb heavy. and just kind of dark and dreamy sounding. So so the Butthole Surfers, Julian Casablancas and the Voids, I also just don't really get them. It's just kind of a bunch of noise. And but that's not to discredit the fans that do really get them and are singing along to everything. I mean, there were some hardcore like Butthole Surfer fans that were just headbanging because their music is kind of heavy. It's just like nonstop heavy. I think that was another thing too. Is just the contrast. There's like no melodic themes, and it's just like heavy throughout. And they like this kind of shock rock, like gore style that I'm just like not really about. Like for Butthole Surfers on the visuals, they had it was like gory acts repeated, all on women, and I was like, like, okay, I don't know, I just didn't get it. So if you know something I don't about them, then just feel free to comment on like why you like them, because I really am interested. I even thought about asking fans who were just really into it. I was like, how, why? I don't get it. But so I've talked about some of the things that I didn't really like, but the things that I did like there, Laluz on Saturday. I've seen them a couple times, but they've always been a band that like I'll see them live and I enjoy them, but then I never really go and listen to them after. This time I was like catching on though. They are super talented. The guitar player is just like on point. They just look like they were having fun up there. They play this kind of surf rock, doo-wop, 60s kind of rock style, and the crowd was just loving them. They had such great energy. And they were one of the bands that were dressed up in costume too. They're all wearing like nun outfits, and then also the Paranoids were wearing Dalmatian outfits too, and they were playing punk music, and their set was a lot of fun also. Let's see, what else? I really, I mean, I've been hardcore into Cigarettes After Sex since I saw them at Desert Days. They're just like, it's very slow, very dreamy, and it's just like, all right, confession time. So when I was at Desert Days and they played the song "Nothing's Gonna Hurt You, Baby," which I first heard on The Handmaid's Tale. I hadn't really listened to them much before that, and this was the song, like I was going through a bad breakup, and this song, it's like, nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. It's got this beautiful melody, just really atmospheric and dreamy background sounds, and it just like brought me to tears. And I saw them perform it live, and it just brought me right back there to like when I was experiencing this breakup. And it's like music like that is so special. And just seeing them again at they played a whole, like, how long was their set? It was almost it was like 50-minute set at one of the main stages. The sun was going down. There's like couples embracing each other. People are singing along, closing their eyes. It's just so tender and beautiful. It was really just one of my favorite sets at the Growlers Six. And then, of course, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs just absolutely killed it. They played a lot of songs off Fever to Tell, which was really an essential album for me growing up, and for a lot of people too, I'm sure, like in high school. It was, I mean, she brought such great energy, Karen O. She just has such a great stage presence. She even got into the crowd and had them sing along to certain parts too. It was just one of those sets that you just never wanted to end, and everyone's dancing and having such a blast. It was really incredible. And then I saw the Growlers after that, and just they have some really great songs. I mean, this might be kind of obvious, but I don't really know their whole discography really, but it was a lot of fun. It's just like very surf rock, laid back and chill. and so I caught them that night. And then the next day, let's see, I started the day with Billy Changer, who has been on my radar for a while because he just has this very unique take on like post-punk. And so yeah, I saw his set. And then the B-52s were also just incredible, high energy, the dynamic up there between, the lead singers, Kate Pearson and the guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. But they just have such a great dynamic up there. It's a lot of fun. And they closed their set with Rock Lobster, and just the whole crowd was just moving and going crazy over that. So that was really cool. And then, let's see, after that, I did get to see Olive Fear's set, which was, it's easy to kind of have a love-hate relationship with Fear just because they're so, like, they're such a boys club and they're so misogynistic and just, like, all about let's get drunk and drink beer and party. The music's not necessarily good, but it's just one of those things that is just very kind of nostalgic for me. I did get to see a tiny bit of Bad Brains also, but had to watch Alice Glass, who, again, it's like, with the whole Crystal Castles controversy, good for her for, coming out and going on her own. But really at the same time, it's like none of their music, I mean, Ethan Kath's music isn't good without Alice Glass, and her music isn't really good without him. Not saying that they should be doing music together or anything, but it just wasn't that, it's not that captivating. And then other than that, yeah, it was just, I closed the day with the Butthole Surfers. I did kind of go and watch Beach Fossils a little bit here and there just because they were one stage over. And I would have loved to end the whole day with them because as many times as I've seen Beach Fossils, it's just never enough. They're so funny on stage, and they just have this really like cool laid back stage presence, and of course their music is, I just think it's like one of the best things out there right now too. So that's basically my whole recap for the Growlers 6. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I really do hope if they have Growlers 7, that it's at this location again. Even though we did have to walk quite a ways from like the parking lot, and it was $20 to park, I think it was still a lot better than having it at the OC Observatory, where you run the risk of it being oversold and you're just being crushed and like trampled. So I think that they really this year streamlined a lot of the the processes, and while the security could have been more attentive at certain points, it did seem like they were, they were nice, like they were engaging with the crowd, and giving us water bottles too, kind of toward the end of the day also. So overall, like, it's a festival I would definitely recommend. Right here in San Pedro, I'm in Long Beach, so it's a nice drive right over the Vincent Thomas Bridge. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it in the future. And if you attended the festival, let me know in the comments, like, what were some of your favorite things. Do you agree or disagree with some of the highlights and lowlights that I mentioned also? And thanks so much for taking the time to watch this. And you can also see a few snaps of my experience too. I took some Snapchats also, so feel free to take a look at those to get a better idea of how it was being there. All right, signing off.